Well, no sooner than I made the last little video than I realized, I sort of had a revelation. I realized that the one thing that I hadn't figured out was the side bolts protruded from the side of the lock. And I'm trying to minimize the width of the lock as much as I can. This is 3.5 inches wide already. And with the side bolts protruding, that means that the mortise that goes into is going to have to be even wider. And I hadn't figured out just what I was going to do on the ends of those to make them connect to the rods that actually operate the locks at either end of the desk lid. And I suddenly realized that I could make it all internal if I just reshape the side bolts. So I've actually cut the lock in half. The sides, the interior mechanism of the lock. I actually cut the sides in half, and the side bolts are now internal. Same key, which has, I don't know how well that showed, that the key has a cross-shaped hole to match the cross-shaped key post. So when the key goes in the lock and turns, now the side bolts are completely within the width of the lock itself, and as when it opens they protrude out. Those are going to, they have threaded holes in them, and they're going to be rods that are threaded into there, which go out to the sides of the desk lid and operate actual bolts at the edges of the lid. But when they're retracted, they're completely inside the lock, which means that I can slide this into the mortise without having to have anything wider than this. I can slide it into the mortise and then screw the rods in from the sides through their slots. So otherwise the mechanism is completely the same interior, except that these bolts are now thicker than they were before. Instead of just being a 1/16 of an inch thick like the original ones, they're 5/16 of an inch thick. And they just operate, they just slide on the underside of the lid, of the lid of the lock. And they're guided by the guides that were already inside. And then I still have to decide how the upper bolt is going to attach, because it's going to have to be attached to a bolt that works into the center of the lid. There's a bunch of stuff that has to happen to this upper edge here. This is completely unfinished so far. But anyway, that's a really major modification, which I'm really happy about. It simplifies things a lot and makes it more compact. So there it is.